Yo, what's up? This is Fantasy Fling with DFS Army, and this is your Battle Royale Week 6 first look. Let's do it. All right, so we are going to hop into a Battle Royale draft. Battle Royale, $7 entry fee, $50K to first. It's a DFS draft on Underdog Fantasy. Already done one of these, so we're going to look at the ADPs here in a second. But wanted to start with the game tiles. Look at maybe a couple spots that, we might want to target in week 6. And I'm shooting this earlier than normal. Really wanted to get into the lobby and, kind of see if we can get an edge like really fast before the content has come out for the week, before, people have kind of looked at all the numbers and, seen some of the best plays, see if we can potentially get an ADP advantage and get some unique lineups in early in the week without really having to go off the board. So, at this point in the season, what I'm looking for when I first open up DFS Army's Domination Station, which is our optimizer that we use to mass multi-enter contests on FanDuel, contests on Yahoo, contests on DraftKings. But, this just gives us an idea of, some of the best game environments to target. And then when we go down here, we look at projections and see who some of the best players are, who are popping early on in the week, of course. So this helps us identify good matchups, identify good players, identify players that, maybe what we're seeing here will have like a high projection, but when we go into underdog drafts, like the field is not on them at all. Like maybe Quinchon Junkins, for example. So that said, let's start with the game tiles and let's see who's really standing out. Now, this one pops off the page to me right away when I look at it. We have a Dallas team, giving up 30 points per game, going against a Carolina team that is not very good as well in the secondary. So, this game, this 49.5 point team total, I like it. I can actually, maybe this is a week to play Bryce Young. Maybe Bryce Young actually has a good game. If not, Tet's in play. Rico Dowdle's in play. We saw him smash last week going against that Dallas defense that has been terrible. Dallas, has been a bottom 5 defense this year. But the good news is they score points. So they're scoring points because they can offensively and because they need to win games with their defense being so poor. So this is a game that jumps out to me early on in the week. A couple other game environments. We got Indy going against Arizona. Arizona, terrible game last week. They blew it. Big lead. Should have went up like 28-7, and they ended up losing this game to that game to Tennessee. Now they're going against Indy. Indy has been one of the surprises of the NFL season, 32 points per game, and they have a 27-point implied team total. So we're going right back to Indy. Jonathan Taylor, again, is going to be one of the top plays on the slate. 3 touchdowns last week. We targeted him. Obviously, he went 1.1, but whenever he was on the board, we were drafting him last week. And, this is another decent spot for him. Arizona isn't obviously – the worst run defense, but they are bottom 10 in the league. And this is a smash spot for Jonathan Taylor. So we're going right back to it. We saw, Warren, Pittman, like Daniel Jones will be a guy that we'll be considering to draft. You can run him naked. You can stack him with Pittman. You can stack him with Warren. And this is going to be another spot. Now, there's a couple spots that really stand out to me. Other than that, as far as just one more game environment that, I like a lot. And then we'll look at some teams that we just really want to target. So we have San Fran going on the road to play Tampa. I like this matchup more as far as a game stacking environment. If we can get San Francisco a little more healthy, I don't want to see Mac Jones throwing to Kendrick Bourne out there. I want Pearsall back. If we get Pearsall, Jennings, one of these guys, this is a good spot. Christian McCaffrey has not had the game that we need from him, and this doesn't really set up as a spot where it should be. However, he's getting so much volume. Like he's getting ridiculous volume. He's getting the second most rush attempts per game. on the season, 91, and he's getting wide receiver 1 volume. So he's got 49 targets through 5 games. So I think we just kind of have to bite the bullet, continue to play Christian McCaffrey, even in a tougher matchup, just because at some point with this volume, he's going to break free and have a tournament winning score. On the other side, Ibuka is a guy that we can play each and every week. This game projects as one that is high scoring. It's competitive. So I think this is a spot where I could see this game going back and forth, especially if San Francisco can get a little more healthy for this game with the extended layoff that they had. Now, a couple last spots. Both of the Rams, or the Los Angeles teams rather, I love this week. So I'm talking Kyron Williams going against Baltimore, that has been the worst defense in the league. Assuming they don't get a bunch of guys back, this is an explosion spot for the Rams offense. Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua. The Ravens are giving up the second most fantasy points allowed to running backs, 31 per game, and the second most to quarterbacks and wide receivers. So I love Stafford stacks this week. I love Puka Nacua. I love Devontae Adams. I love Kyron Williams. I am drafting Rams in every draft. This is a spot that I want to really hammer and come away with a Ram in every single draft. Another spot that's really good that stands out, a couple more. The other Los Angeles team, Los Angeles Chargers, they get a Miami team, not been good defensively, giving up the third most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks, giving up the fifth most fantasy points per game, 28.5 to running backs. Who's it going to be this week? You could probably take some chances right now. Last round, Haskins, Vidal, Marion Hampton went on IR. Najee Harris is already on IR. So it's looking like there's going to be value running backs. We'll have to check coaches, Coach Speak Index. Shout out to them to see, who that guy is going to be this week. But as of right now, I would lean towards, kind of Vidal and Haskins, just taking some early week shots at these guys in the last round, because this is a really good spot. Last spot for me that really jumps out. We got Green Bay at home, 29.2 implied team total against a Cincinnati team that is giving up 31 points per game. They've just been terrible. So it's a really good spot for Josh Jacobs. He has the top running back matchup on the slate. Cincinnati giving up 32 fantasy points per game to running back. So I absolutely love Josh Jacobs. For me, he's going to be a core player for me when I write my cheat sheet for DFSarmy VIPs, for Underdog drafts, for the DraftKings, for the FanDuel, DraftKings and FanDuel cash games. He's just going to be a core player for me. This is a really good spot for Josh Jacobs. I also like Love. With Love, this is a good matchup as well. Cincinnati has not been good against the pass either, specifically against tight end. They've been the worst team in the league against tight end. So I love Tucker Kraft. I love stacking Jordan Love with Tucker Kraft. And if you can't get the stack, I love Kraft as a one-off or just running Love naked. So those are a few spots that I'm kind of looking at early in the week. And I got guys, by the way, if you like these first look draft breakdowns, let me know in the comments. Hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because we got so much DFS content coming your way. And I don't know if y'all know, if you saw this, for those who watch all DFS Army's YouTube videos, but we also had a guy take down second place in the Millie Maker 100K last week. We had a guy win 50K in college football Saturday, big contest. So a lot of the content, and actually the guy who took 100K, who won 100K in DraftKings Millie Maker, he just watches DFS Army's YouTube videos. So you definitely want to be subscribed to the channel. You don't want to miss tournament tactics. So make sure you hit those notification buttons, because we go live every Friday with tournament tactics, dropping gems, 100K winners, $1 million winners. All right. Before we drop into Underdog draft, we're going to check some ADPs real quick. Now, for me, so far, I dropped into one draft just like 10 minutes ago, and I was actually pretty surprised at how sharp the room was this early in the week. So Also, it was like a badge bro draft. There was just red badges everywhere. So I'm not really sure that was the best representation. Those are going to be your sharpest drafters. But, right now we're seeing Christian McCaffrey go 1 overall. I like Christian McCaffrey based on the matchup, but if he's going 1 overall, I'm fading that. I want JT. I'm tired of Devin Achon. He just hasn't been doing it. There's no ceiling with him. It's just all floor. And really just because I don't think Miami's a very good team. And they couldn't do it versus Carolina last week. If he can't do it in that spot against a bad Carolina team, when is he going to do it? So it's different than Christian McCaffrey for me just because Miami is not as good of a team as San Francisco, and he's not getting the same volume as Christian McCaffrey. So I'm fading Devin Achon at this ADP. I love Josh Jacobs. He's a core for me. I would take him. If I don't get Jonathan Taylor, I would take him 2nd overall. I love Kyren Williams. So, what the good thing about Kyren is you can go wide receiver in the 1st round. You can get, Puka. You can get Jamar Chase or JSN specifically. Chase would probably be 3rd after JSN and Puka. And then you could get Kyren. So in the 2nd round. So I love that. Gentry's got a good matchup this week as well. And so does Dowdle. So the field doesn't, I think have too good of a read yet on the running backs. Wide receiver, let's look at kind of these 3 spots as I typically go quarterback towards the end of the draft. Look at tight end too. Ferguson, and I'm curious to see how this shapes out. Yeah, see, and I think the field has us wrong early in the week. Ferguson and Tucker Kraft have absolutely outstanding matchups. So I would go both of them over Trey McBride and Tyler Warren this week, and that is how I will play it. Puka Nacua, JSN, and Buka. Abuka is a stud. Okay, so I think we're playing Abuka every single week at this point. So I love him. I did ride him up last week as such. Pickens, Adams. I would probably go, if I'm not getting to Puka Nacua in a draft, I'm definitely getting Devontae Adams in that draft because, like I said, I think this is the week. And the way the Puka Nacua lineups fail is Kyren or Devontae Adams have a big week because I think the Rams are going to score a lot of points against Baltimore. So he's a guy that, I would try to leave drafts with if I don't get Puka, if I don't get Kyren. And yeah, even you can do a secondary stack with like Kyren and Devontae Adams. That wins a lot. Wrote about it. The winning trends. You can find that on dfsarmy.com. But yeah, wrote about the winning trends the past couple of years. And that's something that we definitely want to target as secondary stacks. Now, Chase, Tet, like this all looks good. I like Pickens, kind of skipped him there. Chase, just as a guy that can win any week if the offense is humming, if they're able to block. I love Jalen Waddle in that spot against the Chargers, as the wide receiver 1, who we've seen smash multiple games now when Tyreek Hill is out. Stephon Diggs against New Orleans. Stephon Diggs looks 2 straight games where he looks healthy. I'm going back to him. And, this, I think all these ADPs make sense so far. Quentin Johnston, this is a good matchup against Miami. Johnston, McConkey, Allen, I like all these guys. And then quarterback, yeah, Dak's coming off the board first. I think it's a pretty good spot. You could double stack him with Ferguson and Pickens. You could do some singles, of course, with Ferguson. The problem is I don't love Dak as the first quarterback off the board. And then Lamar, he has a chance to play week 6, but it's not looking very good. And I don't really want Lamar, who's not running because of a hamstring. I like Herbert. I like Mayfield. But really, I would prefer this week like Stafford, May, or Jordan Love, or Daniel Jones. Like Love, May, Daniel Jones, those are all going to be some late round targets for me. So let's go ahead and hop into a Battle Royale draft. All right, waiting for one person. And we could kind of go to DFS Army's projections, see who is popping early on in the week. Now, these are from a provider, and we haven't put in our projections yet. We haven't put in what the prop market tells us yet, which is just incredible projections. So these are going to be very baseline projections. and looks like I am picking 4th. And yeah, I like 4th. I haven't picked 4th yet. I think I picked 5th in the first draft I did, so that'll work. And yeah, like Omarion Hampton is not expected to play, so these are obviously going to change a lot. You know, Haskins, Vidal are not going to be showing any projections at this point with Omarion Hampton expected to play. But I think at wide receiver, it's going to be more accurate. Puka, JSN, Chase, Pickens, Myers, like this all looks exactly what I'd expect from the field right now. And really it's been running back. And then, you know, like Puka Nacua. So we'll see how this draft starts. I'm guessing it's going to be Taylor. No. Wow, I want Puka Nacua. So one of these guys might actually get pushed down to me. I'm guessing Taylor or H-On will be there. I will not take H-On. I will take Josh Jacobs because the matchup is just too good. I'm guessing JSN will go next here. Josh Jacobs is a core for me, so if I can get him early on in the week here, where I'm guessing he might actually get pushed up a little bit by the end of the week, like I will certainly take that. Javonte went next. I did not expect that going against Carolina. I mean, Carolina is a bad run defense, so I guess that's not too surprising. It's just you know, you really don't expect to see Javonte Williams going in the first round of Battle Royales. But I guess that's where we're at, how he's been playing this year, given the matchup and whatnot. So I might double up here and take Kyron. Tough decisions. Chase, Pickens. Yeah, I think I just want to double up here and take Kyron. Knock running back out of the way. It's just too good of a spot for both of those guys. Maybe Adams comes back around to me. We'll see if I can get him. I really would like to get Tucker Kraft. Let's see. Maybe I can get Jordan Love. He went much earlier than I expected last draft. We'll see how that goes. This one. So this guy probably take another running back or a running back, maybe even double up. I could get Quentin Johnson or Ladd. Tet's in a good spot. This actually, and there goes Tet and Dak. So very interesting start for TJ Chip. No running backs in the first 3 rounds. Jumped in on Dak, probably trying to stack Dak with Ferguson there. I like the Tet play. I think that's a good one. Let's see what we got for wide receivers. I could potentially, yeah, this is setting up pretty well. I think I like this whole crop of wide receivers here. I can get Adams. I can get Jamar Chase. Potentially one of those guys will be there. There goes Adams. So Judkins just went off the board. I will gladly take Jamar Chase here. Anytime, I said this last week. I wrote this in my notes for the Battle Royale cheat sheet that I do for DFS Army subscribers. But I was like, anytime you can get a guy like Chase in the 3rd round who has a good projection each and every week, you know, he's going to project 15 or more fantasy points, and he has that 30-point upside. That is something that I will take 9 times out of 10 because I don't care who the quarterback is with a ceiling like Chase. So, the way this is going, I will probably take Tucker. I wanted to take Tucker Kraft, and he, you know what? I'm going to take Ferguson. So I wanted to take Tucker Kraft and thought about taking Jordan Love, but now that I think about it, because I got Josh Jacobs, I probably would not have been the best. We can get Drake May. We can get Herbert. Maybe we could stack Herbert with Ladd, who we saw get going a little bit there. Keenan Allen. Ferguson has the best matchup on the board, and he's actually just like absolutely been killing it with targets this year. He's leading the league with 48 targets. So, and I like that. And one of the things I like about that is, we saw Pickens go. This guy got Dak. He got Dak early, and I'm guessing he probably got Dak with the intent of stacking with Ferguson. So I kind of blocked that stack there. He went with Lamb, which is very iffy if Lamb will play this week. Maybe that's what he wanted to do all along. Maybe he's taking that early week chance. And, if Lamb plays, like he's going to get great leverage on the field. Or maybe he just pivoted there because I took Ferguson. I don't know. But we're fixing to find out. So let's see if Herbert makes it around to me. If Herbert does, I will stack him with potentially Ladd or Keenan Allen with my last pick. It'll be interested to see what JC Salah does here. He took Drake May. Okay. Love it. There goes Herbert. So I think what I have to do, I'll try to get Daniel Jones. That's a tough decision. All right, I'm going to take Daniel Jones now. I'm going to take Daniel Jones now, and then I will stack him with Pittman. And normally, so like if I had some type of other correlation in here, like if I'd gotten Devontae Adams, I would have been totally fine taking Jordan Love or taking any of these quarterbacks unstacked. But I don't like having no correlation in the lineup. Like I want some type of correlation in the lineup. So because I didn't get Devontae Adams and Kyron Williams together, or I didn't get Kraft and Josh Jacobs together, like I'm going to now stack my quarterback because that's one thing I saw looking back at the last couple years of Battle Royale winners. So let's go ahead with Michael Pittman in this spot as Daniel Jones is number one. I like this team. First look draft, I guess actually second look draft, but Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams. Josh Jacobs a core for me. Kyron Williams in a great spot. Got Jamar Chase in the third. Ferguson, best matchup on paper, and was able to stack Daniel Jones with Michael Pittman. We'll see if this lineup will be unique. I do think getting Daniel Jones ahead of ADP, getting Pittman in the last round, I think, that'll probably be a pretty unique combination overall. And certainly with the rest of the players that I drafted, Josh Jacobs, Kyron, Jamar Chase, and Jake Ferguson, this can certainly be a unique build. So that's going to wrap it up for this one. And obviously, thank you for another first look draft with me, DFS Army subscribers. Check the NFL coaches notes as I will drop the Battle Royale cheat sheet on Thursday. And then, of course, make updates to it, final updates on Friday. But let's bank one of these, and we'll see you all next time. Take care.